Good morning. This is a photo of a Chinese container ship at the port of Long Beach, California. All those shipping containers at the top are called TEUs, or 20-foot equivalent units. Container ships are getting ever bigger and able to transport almost unimaginable volumes of these TEU shipping containers. Halfway down this graphic, we see VLCs, or very large cargo ships, that would carry up to 15,000 of them. We're now at the ultra-large carriers with a capacity of over 20,000 shipping containers. And shippers and freight forwarders are very clever how to pack these things, so there's not much wasted space. Here's a peek inside palletized shipments from floor to ceiling. With this in mind, let's consider a new proposal that would charge high port fees for non-US built ships to use American ports. It's specifically targeting China, and the hope is that these measures would rebuild the United States production of civilian ships, which is basically non-existent anymore. Today, the global fleets of merchant shipping comes from 3 countries here in Asia. China, South Korea, and Japan are 90% of the market, and China is the biggest builder of all. 25 years ago, China was less than 5% of all the shipbuilding, and now they're over half. Chinese companies also own 19% of the world's fleet of commercial ships and 95% of all the shipping containers in the world. By comparison, the United States ranks 19th, building fewer than 5 ships a year, while China builds over 1,700. The first idea is to charge a $1 million fee when a Chinese-built or Chinese-owned ship enters a U.S. port. That sounds like a lot of money, and the announcement got some people in the shipping industry nervous. But let's look at these photos again. If one of those ships is hauling 20,000 TEU containers, $1 million divided by 20,000 is $50. $50 per container then. And that $50 would be spread out among all the buyers of everything in that container. Maybe just a few pennies for each bag or item in the shipping container, in other words. Or if it's a heavy tractor or something else that takes up the whole container, it's an extra $50. It's nothing, and nobody believes that that's going to move the needle at all. It's a math problem. There's not enough money there to compel new shipyard construction and the hiring of tens of thousands of people. There is more to these proposals than just the port entry fees, though. At least 1% of American products exported by sea would need to be on U.S. flagged and U.S. operated carriers, climbing to 15% after 7 years, with the eventual requirement that the ships be U.S. built. Now, this would be a huge problem, but not for importers. The problem would be for U.S. companies doing export business. And it's this part that has shipping experts and supply chain guys perplexed. It would make U.S. exports uncompetitive, starting the first day, because there simply aren't enough U.S. ships and crews in the whole world to handle American exports. Immediately upon enactment, ship operators would build what's called parallel fleets and set up distribution hubs offshore the U.S. to handle the volume. Unlike imports coming in, all this would be very expensive on a per-piece basis. For example, they might have ships that just zip back and forth between Bermuda and the U.S. East Coast for the U.S. crewed and U.S. built ships, then offloaded there and sent on their own international charters from Bermuda outbound. Maybe. Pacific, hard to know how things would go there. Use a Mexican port maybe. Ensenada is going to be like Rotterdam, or Vancouver, Canada, could be. But those shadow fleets and new port facilities in foreign countries would spring up right away and make the international seaports closest to Long Beach, LA, and New York and Savannah suddenly some of the busiest in the whole world. Obviously, this plan would dramatically drive up the cost of U.S. exports and the delivery times.